Now, you might not believe this, but actually, I really like variety and trying lots of different things. As long as those lots of different things are just different builds on the same sorcerer every season, then we're all good. I need to do something else with my life. Hello, my fellow sorcerers then, and welcome, as it's that time once more to sit down and take stock on, well, our stock, which has risen higher than ever in Season 5, firmly claiming the title of Best Class, firmly claiming the title of Best Build, though that's a little bit murkier post the, let's say, tweaks to Splintering Energy Lightning Spear, but at the very least, it has never been better to be a sorcerer, and you can tell that because everyone is Flavor of the Month switching. Which is fine, which is fine, I say, through the tears of playing since frickin' pre-season 0, through all of the lows of being the worst class for 90% of Diablo 4. I welcome our fellow brothers and sisters of the best class ways. But yeah, I seriously do love Sorcerer, I love testing, I love theory crafting, and the more people I can do that for, the better. It makes me happy, and so many of you have messaged me thanking me not just for the literal builds, but for helping you understand the class. Like, I don't make my build guides half an hour long to go over every detail just for the giggles. I want everything to come across in the best way that it can, and if anything, help you make your own builds with that understanding. That makes me really chuffed. And if you are wondering what's happening in the background, it is an experiment I'm currently working on, trying to make a pure Andariel's poison version of Chain Lightning, where the poison is the damage, using Creeping Death and such, where I've managed to make Andariel's tick for 400 million, which is pretty neat. I'm still tinkering, I don't know if it'll end up being an actual build, but hey, it is certainly entertaining. So let's actually go over then what is, in my humble opinion, the 5 best sorcerer builds of Season 5. And this was actually incredibly difficult for a couple reasons. First, we have so many strong options that are all viable, all tier 8 worthy, all solid and fun. So deciding which one of them to take, like places 4 and 5, it honestly comes down to personal preference more than anything. Yes, the top end is pretty set in stone, but even then there's some nuance, but it really is a good problem to have. So if your build doesn't appear here, it by no means means it's bad, it's just in good company. The other awkward thing is, well, Lightning Spear Splintering Energy. Because it is just Lightning Spear dealing a load of damage, and so many builds are capable and do weave in Lightning Spears, resulting in a situation where, to use Chain Lightning as an example, you have Chain Lightning, and then you have Chain Lightning, but you put the Splintering Energy aspect on, and now you've got a better build. But at that point, you've also just got a worse Splintering Energy build than pure Lightning Spear. So there's like this big grey melded area that I will try my best to navigate as we get towards the top of this list. Past that, yeah, I do like to take in the flavor and the enjoyment of playing it a lot, and then it just needs to have a minimum level of power to comfortably farm tier 8s and do your pit 101, 110, etc. on loop speedily. So with that in mind, let's begin at 5th, where we're going with Blizzard. I want to initially instantly say that this was this close to being charged bolts, but I just give the edge to Blizzard post the fix to Blue Rose, allowing it to essentially deal double damage. If the council fight on tier 8, all 3 of them always just stood next to each other in the center of the room, Blizzard would be a couple spots higher up this list and actually one of the best builds in the game, full stop. It suffers from its own method of delivering damage, little ground patches on the floor, which in pit pushing is fine, because the pit boss tends to stay still and you can get a load of layering up, and in terms of pit pushing, yeah, it is definitely up there, but it does definitely suffer in hordes because of the nature of the council fight, and just how spread out everything is in general. But that said, the pure damage it deals is so respectable that it's hard to ignore. You can get 20 to 30 million without perfect gear ice spike explosions that then explode twice with a nice GA properly masterworked blue rose, so every ice spike is doing like 40 to 60 million, again not in perfect gear. And how many ice spikes happen? A load of them. You start layering blizzards and it's popping off multiples a second and then some, and you see why it starts to absolutely shred. It does suffer sometimes from a bit of mana issues. It can suffer from a little bit of squishiness, a little bit of cooldown, barrier uptime, though I wove in temerity to get around that, which worked beautifully on both counts. But the bottom line here is, in terms of raw damage, Blizzard is very respectable, but mechanically it falls to 5th place for me. In at 4th place then is Fireball. But before I get into this, another instant caveat I need to add, that this is so close to what's going to be 3rd that you could totally swap them and there would be nothing wrong with that. So, Fireball, the ultra-buffed Staff of Endless Rage, Gloves of the Illuminator, coming together in beautiful harmony. It does damage. It does damage easily, and it's just this lovely, simple, put on the right items and you are absolutely rocking way to Sorcerer when you first hit endgame, but has this huge ceiling with perfect gear to get to the point where fireballs can start hitting to like 50 to 100 million damage a bounce. The footage you're seeing is my very early, like less than a week into the season fireball build, so obviously it is outdated and far from perfect gear, but you get the point. It really has a lot of potential, and you can actually have a lot of varieties here. You can technically play Fireball without Staff of Endless Rage, and do a few little twists based on that. You can play, instead of a Shaco, put Andariel's on, get the attack speed that lets you drop Ancient Flame, add some poison, and you just can get a little bit more creative than you might expect, because it is very unique heavy, it's very slot decided, with a staff, with gloves, but there is room to play here, and it just does what it does very well. It looks spectacular, it hits hard, and there's not really much more to say about it. It's just satisfying. This build, along with all others that I've done, will be linked down below if you are wanting to go into them, get a bit better of an explanation. But for now, we move on to 3rd place, which is Chain Lightning. Axial Conduit really is a game changer, but Andariel's with Starlight is an even bigger game changer. You can technically play it without that combo, free up some space, but you really have to manage your mana, and it just kind of sucks all the fun out of it for a bit of min-max, whereas just standing there turreting out like 12 Chain Lightnings without a care in the world, it's unrivaled in how satisfying it is. You don't have to aim, you just let it happen and watch these massive lightning novas detonate everywhere and have a grand old time in doing so. It's an exceptional farmer because of how automatic, widespread and large scale it is. It melts bosses too, as even if there's just one target, you're just stood on top of them, your lightnings are rotating, they're exploding, they're not going anywhere else. It really just adapts to the situation almost automatically, and it's incredibly flexible. There's so many ways you can take it. The poison variant that I have been testing, that I told you about, you've got more hybrids that will actually come up in a moment, and you can use it just as an engine to do lots of other cool things with. Having an infinite mana rapid attacking core skill unlocks a fair amount of builds that I've also been giving a tinker to. But at the bottom line, it's just really, really strong, straightforward, looks visually impressive, and is one of our real winners. Honestly, if it wasn't for Splintering Energy being so good, the peak form of Chain Lightning would probably end up being our overall best build. And I say that with an asterisk because the best build that can push the highest pit is very different from the best build for 99% of the player base that don't do that. You just want to nicely farm tier 8s, maybe do up to pit 110, just play the game, and the most comfortable, excellent thing to do that is probably, yeah, Chain Lightning. It really is just that good. But now we get to second place, and it's here I kind of have to address the big lightning elephant in the room that is what I alluded to at the start. Just put splintering energy in a build and then it's probably a better build. So I could have pure chain lightning in third place as I just did, but then as I said, you add splintering energy to it, you're churning out loads of lightning spears with fast attacking permanent and stable currents, and you're just going to be doing better. But is that just a better chain lightning build, or is it a worse lightning spear build? That's up for you to decide, so I wanted to make second place just a general category of build that isn't pure lightning spear, but is using the splintering energy aspect and lightning spear to deal damage. So here you will find chain lightning with like winterglass and splintering energy that I did, that I'm still very happy with, using that Hydra enchant tech because you're spawning them so fast with chain lightning you just get 2 more free stacks of conjuration mastery, which is massive. You know, something like this that hybridizes with splintering energy without being a pure lightning spear build. They are your general second places. Or hell, the teleport build that I did, that, yeah, uses splintering energy, you can put fractured winterglass on it, and you're still hitting hundreds of millions with every teleport, but you do also have a swarm of spears flying around doing what they do. You've also then got something like Frozen Orb, which is probably the best way to leverage splintering energy and lightning spears that isn't just playing pure splintering energy lightning spears. Of course it is, because it's the actual skill for the Winterglass Amulet, and if you're just spam turreting out Frozen Orbs, you are just going to summon a ton of lightning spears. Not quite as many as just thundering the lightning spear button with no cooldown, but almost. And that gives you a really fun build. You go high attack speed, high crit damage, you have your Winterglass, your Frozen Orb, your splintering energy aspect, and you just spam that Frozen Orb button, and you have a grand old time. So yeah, if I had to choose a definitive second place here, it would be either Chain Lightning with Splintering Energy Winterglass, or perhaps a little bit even better, Frozen Orb with Splintering Energy. But then we get to your true number one, who is, of course, going to be pure Lightning Spear Splintering Energy. The build I did just like 2 days into the season, and it's remained just the best. And I don't really need to elaborate on this. We all know it, most of us are running it, and you have seen it everywhere by everyone because it's the build of the season, and the build of the season always gets covered everywhere by everyone. That is only natural. There is a few little variations that you can do on it, like the one I presented using a orange herald leg, so you can then use Via's Mastery, which no one had done until I did that, which I'm still very, very pleased with, but there is certainly a lot to love here. The clear speed, the damage, both single and not, it held the pit record before it got nerfed, now not quite as much, but certainly still up there. You've got like a 152 or so done with it, and there really isn't a better build in the game for farming tier 8s and getting absolutely truck tons of ether. You have such ridiculous potential, and honestly the only real downsides of this build is number one, the thundering rate that you have to slam your lightning spear button as it plays really, really fast, and two, that if nothing changes, it's going to be the best sorcerer build essentially forever unless it gets power crept by something, but then we have a whole other problem because something that power creeps this is going to be absolutely ludicrous. It's hard to compete with the potency of having a bajillion stacks of a passive that gives you 10% damage per stack. So I hope you really do like this build, because if nothing changes, you're going to be playing it for the next 6 seasons. That, though, is for the future. Right now, it is awesome. It really is. I love it, and I assume that you guys are too. It's just the best. It was never going to be anything else on a list like this. And like with Fireball, of course, the footage you're seeing is from me covering it like 2 days into the season, so very outdated now, and of course it got a lot better with properly min-maxed gear. Well, so I made this top 5 build talk a while ago now, like 3-4 days from when you're hearing this, before the Season 6 Campfire Chat, where we got changes to Sorcerer, and yes, they have capped Conjuration Mastery at 30 stacks. So, I mean, I can see the future, though it is a little bit of a shame to instantly get Lightning Spear limited. It is exactly what I said, that yeah, there is going to be a situation where every season it's just who can get the most stacks of Conjuration Mastery, especially with a new Conjuration skill, which is very exciting. Already theory crafting on that one, but that is essentially that. Just want to throw that in there. In any case, like if you've enjoyed this, let me know what your favorite Sorcerer build of the season is, what are you playing, and subscribe for more. Consider supporting the future of the channel on Patreon down below, and until we meet again, a goodbye.
Josh, Cotton, and Hollow with the videos, dropping the humor like a hammer on your tippy toes, bringing entertainment on a daily arrangement to take our insanity and turn it into entertainment. Yes, I said entertainment twice, to reiterate that it is nice to look into your faces on a mostly daily basis when you let us in your homes to make the whole world a stage. Goodbye.